Okay, and welcome back, guys, to another Technocamps Scratch tutorial. And the blocks we're going to be looking at today are the control blocks. Now, inside this control category, the orange blocks are the programming concepts as they are put in Scratch. So these are some of the most important blocks that Scratch has because these are the real core concepts that underlie programming and coding in general. So we've got a lot of different blocks available to us here. We've got a wait block, and let's just start by seeing how this wait block works. So as usual, I'm going to pull in a when the green flag is clicked block because we tend to start programs in Scratch with that. And maybe let's look at another block we've done. We'll get Scratch to switch to the next costume. So Scratch looks like he's walking because that's the two costumes Scratch has. So we can keep Scratch's costume like this and we'll wait a second and then move to the next costume. And if we click the green flag, a second passes before Scratch switches costume. Now we can test out this block a little bit more by let's copy in a few of these and let's change the time on them. So I'm going to go half a second and then 1 second, then 2 seconds. And if we click the green flag, Scratch changes costume slightly slower every time. So this wait block is really important because it's what allows us to just pause the time in Scratch. We often want to stop our code briefly, whether we're waiting for something to happen or waiting for something else to catch up. Um, there's a lot of uses, endless uses for this wait block. You might use it most often in something like a timer because you're using a programming language, which means if you just create some sort of loop that counts up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, then if you just tell it to change the number by one every time, well, computers work really, really fast. So it will count before you even see anything happening, and it'll just be on the last number. Whereas if you use a wait block, you're actually telling Scratch to wait 1 second every time you change the number. So wait blocks very important in Scratch, and I think it's fairly obvious how they work. The next one we look at is the repeat block. Now, this is one of those loops I mentioned and allows you to repeat something a certain number of times. So we could maybe say to Scratch, I want Scratch to set Scratch's size to 0% and then change Scratch's size by 10% or just by 10 times in a row. So this will change Scratch from being invisible back to being the size, well, not the size Scratch is now. It'll change Scratch back to being that size. And if we click the green flag, there we go. Scratch quickly grows to a size of 100 because it changes the size by 10 times. So it goes 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 100. We could combine these, of course, and let's wait a second each time. And now Scratch will slowly change that size over 10 seconds to grow back to that normal size of 10. Fantastic. So, repeat blocks also very useful because sometimes we want something to happen a certain number of times and only that number of times. Okay, this would also be a great one for making a timer, yeah? If we change a number by one, not change size, but using a different block, which we will get back to in a few weeks, changing the number by one every time and waiting a second, then that would count to 10. Um, Fabulous. The next block to have a look at then is the forever block. Forever, of course, is very similar to repeat. It loops the code time and time and time again, but not for a certain number of times like repeat. It will loop it forever. So this is a way, again, very useful that we can have something happen continually in our program, non-stop for as long as that program runs. So maybe we can change Scratch's color by one every time. So there's 250 different colors, or 200 different colors, I believe. And so this will slowly change Scratch through all the shades of the rainbow because it's forever changing that color by one. Now we could make this a lot slower by adding that wait block, but then it would take 200 seconds for Scratch to change back to this normal orange yellow color. So instead of doing that, maybe we'll combine this with another forever loop. And in this forever loop, I'm going to tell Scratch to change costume like we did at the start. But this time, I'm going to wait 1/10 of a second, 0.1 seconds, which makes Scratch now start running and changing through the colors of the rainbow using two separate forever loops. So again, it's a very, very useful block this because we can have stuff happen non-stop for our entire program. Well, there is one more loop still to come, but we'll get back to that in a moment because the next block we have to look at is the if block. Now, the if block has this little hexagon cut out of it, and that is waiting for some condition to be put in. So, what this block does is that if some condition is true, then it does something. If that condition's not true, it won't do it. Now, as is, this isn't quite going to work. I will show you why. What I can do is maybe we'll say if Scratch is touching the mouse pointer, then I want Scratch to set the size to 200%. Now, if I press the green flag, this doesn't seem to work because the program is running so quickly that it's already asked this question long before my mouse gets onto Scratch. So for blocks like this, it's possible we want to keep asking this question over and over. So I'm going to put it inside a forever. Now it's always going to ask this question. And when my mouse touches Scratch, Scratch grows to 200%. But notice, this doesn't happen again. This has only happened once now because Scratch is 200% and Scratch isn't going to stop being 200%. Well, maybe we want a question that does something, but then also, if that condition is not true, something else should happen. And for us to do that, we don't just want to we don't just want the question with one answer. We want the if else block. Now, what this block does is it checks if a condition is true and does something if it is. Otherwise, else, if it's not, it's going to do something else. So we'll keep the same blocks. If we're touching the mouse pointer, set size to 200%. Else, I'll set size to 100%. There we go. We can see Scratch is down to 100%. And when Scratch touches the mouse, Scratch grows to 200. And as soon as Scratch isn't touching, shrinks back down. Now we can link together a lot of conditions like this. We can always add another one at the end that says if what can we check? If I press the space key on my keyboard, I don't know if you can hear me clicking there, but when I press the space key, I want Scratch to change color by 25 colors. So let's test this again. When I hover over Scratch, Scratch grows, and it's just going to keep doing this bit of code until I press the space bar and Scratch changes color. Now, the old question is still working because forever it is asking this question, then this question, then this question, then this question, then this question. Round and round it goes. But every time I press the space bar, Scratch changes color. So we can link together lots of different questions in our code, which means we can make our programs do very complicated things. Okay, what shall we try next? Well, the next block to have a look at is the wait until. So wait until does exactly what it sounds like. It's going to wait until something happens. So I'll wait until Scratch touches the mouse. When Scratch touches the mouse, maybe I want Scratch to, um, what can we have Scratch do? We can have Scratch glide away to a random position. Now, when I click this one, remember with the if, it didn't work because the question had already been asked by the time I got to it. But this time, the code keeps running because I've got a wait block here. It's waiting until something happens. So my code is just paused, waiting for some condition that sends Scratch gliding to a random place. Now, this won't work again because I've only asked the question once, but it has waited until that question and then it stops. So I could always put this inside a forever as well. If I put if I put this inside the forever, now I can do this question time after time again without having to restart my program. So wait until is also a very useful block because we can pause our code and wait for something to happen. This could be very useful for games if you need the user, the player of that game, if you need them to click a button, you can just pause your code until the person does that. Okay, and for this video, the final block we're going to have a look at is the repeat until. So I said there was one more loop, and this loop is similar to our wait until. It's similar to the if statements. It's asking a question. It's waiting for a condition. Except this time, it's not going to pause our code until the condition is true. It's going to keep doing some other code until the condition is true. So maybe I could use this as a color selector, and I'm going to change color one at a time until I'm touching Scratch with the mouse. And when that happens, I want Scratch to go to a random position. So I can click the green flag, and Scratch is going to cycle through all of these colors non-stop until I decide I like a color. I go with dark blue, and there we go. Scratch has now moved to a random position and has settled on that dark blue color. So the repeat until block is also very, very useful because we can keep doing a little bit of code until we decide it's time to move on from that code. So we've had a nice look there at the first 7 blocks inside the control. Now, part 2 of this video will look at the remaining 4 blocks, but I think we've had a nice investigation there of our wait block and how easy that is to use. Our repeat and forever, which keep doing some code and either non-stop or until some number of loops has been reached. And then our condition blocks that all ask for some question and do something depending on the answer to that question. Either different bits of code, waiting until the question's been answered, or repeating a piece of code until the question has been answered. Well, thank you all very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video and keep an eye out for part two as well, where we will look at the cloning blocks. Thank you all.